All right, it says that we are live. Hopefully, that is indeed the case. Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? So, we're going to jump right on into it because I see the little bar bouncing, and that means audio is being sent out. So, that's good. We're just going to assume that everything is okay. But anyway, wanted to come on here and give some advice about anesthesia and going under because I recently had to go under for some dental work that I needed, and I just wanted to give some advice there. Now, here's the thing: I'm not a doctor. I do not claim to be a doctor. So you got to talk to a medical professional, someone who's actually licensed in this shit, before you take my advice, because I don't want to put you in a situation where things are going to get worse for you. Again, speak to an actual doctor, someone who actually went to school for this shit. But I'm going to be brutally honest about what happened to me and how it could have been avoided. So let's go ahead and get on into what exactly happened. So, um, once upon a time, a few months back, I was eating some popcorn. And in my opinion, after experiencing what I experienced, popcorn should be deemed a lethal weapon because one unpopped kernel was bitten down by yours truly in just the right way that it caused my molar to fracture. And that shit went all the way down to the root. It was not fun, and I needed medical treatment sooner rather than later. As soon as I went to the dentist, they said that the damage was significant enough to the point where I would need a root canal. Half of my tooth would essentially be missing, at least from the top. And then after the root canal procedure, I would then need a crown on my back molar. And here's a thing with me. I cannot tolerate having dental instruments down my throat. It is the most unpleasant experience for me. You could saw my leg off and do surgery on me while I'm still awake, and that would probably be better for me than having instruments down my throat while they're doing whatever it is they have to do. I cannot tolerate dental procedures, especially on a tooth that's way in the back. That's just not something that I can tolerate. So there's a few options that you can choose to do in those particular situations. You can do oral sedation. That's when they give you like triazolam tablets and maybe some laughing gas, and you're not going to remember a fucking thing. For my first appointment, I was on 2 triazolam tablets, and it did nothing for me. I remember everything. I remember the conversation fully. However, for my second appointment, when I went to go actually get the root canal, they gave me 3. And for 2, it was nothing. For 3, it was, so you have chosen death. Let me tell you something. I don't remember a fucking thing after I took those tablets. I called an Uber, and on my way to the dentist, I took the 3 triazolam tablets, and it was fucking lights out. I don't remember getting out of the Uber. I don't remember talking to the individuals at the front desk. I don't remember getting back home. Like, there is a entire block of my day that's just gone, dissolved. It didn't even fucking exist for me. I woke up in my bed wondering how the fuck I got here. So, it seemed to work really, really well. And so I asked the dental professionals after I came to, and this was for the next day. How was I as a patient? Was I out of control? Did I give them any problems? They said, no, you were fine. You were great. It was awesome. Okay, cool. I now know what works for me. So I tried to give that advice to these other dental professionals at a different location that were responsible for both making the crown and putting the crown in place. They said because of the length of the procedure and because of some other problems that I needed, because my wisdom teeth are starting to cause more issues and I will have to get them removed, they can do temporary like shaving just to get them under control so that I won't have this problem in the future. Because I guess what happened is when I bit down on the unpopped kernel, it wedged itself in just the right way that it could cause severe damage. I didn't want that, so they were going to take care of all of that in one visit. However, because of the length of time that they would need, they said that general anesthesia would probably be the way to go. So I said, okay, fine. How much is this going to cost me? And I'm not going to bullshit you guys. I want to make you fully aware of this. Yesterday, I spent $5,000 for the privilege. That is not a made up number. $5,000 to be knocked out. It was expensive, but for me, it would actually be worth it. And the reason why it would be worth it is because I would be comfortable and the medical professionals would be able to do their jobs without me struggling or that kind of things. But yeah, I spent $5,000 for the privilege. So I arrived to the dentist yesterday and they went ahead and stuck an IV in my arm. And let me tell you something. Once those drugs start flowing, it is the most peaceful experience ever. That has got to be the most peaceful I think I've ever felt in my entire fucking life. You just feel so at ease, and next thing you know, you're lights out. You can try to fight that shit, you ain't going to win. You are not going to win. When them chemicals hit, it's some good shit. Okay, if only going to sleep were that easy. But that's not the scary part. But here's the cautionary tale I wish to tell all of you guys, is that before my appointment, the day before, there was a conversation that was a thing. There was a conversation I had between myself and the anesthesiologist, and he said, "Do not eat anything for 12 hours. Do not eat anything for 12 hours. You need to fast for 12 hours." And I was like, dude, that is not a problem. I will not eat anything for 12 hours. So I had a small meal of hamburger helper. And I know I'm fucking weird for liking hamburger helper, but I do. I like it. I like hamburger helper anyway. So I had my meal at 7 p.m. The night before, and my appointment wasn't until 9. And by the time everything started happening, it would have been closer to 9:30, 9:45. Because, they have to check your vitals. They have to make sure that you're okay to go under. So I did all of that. I followed the recommendations to the letter. I didn't want to cause any trouble or problems later on, so I did that. But here's where things went south. And guys, like I said, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. This is why I'm giving you this warning. I apparently vomited twice while I was knocked out. And when you are knocked out and you vomit, you cannot do anything about it. It's stuck in your throat, it's stuck in your airways, and that can be a very dangerous situation. Thankfully, the medical professionals that were on staff, they knew exactly what to do. They basically saved my life twice, but they were surprised on just the amount I had to offer. The stomach contents was quite liberal. There was a lot there, and they did not understand why. And they asked me after I came to, and they said, "Hey, are you sure you fasted?" And I go, "Yeah, I did. I stopped eating at 7 p.m., so I fasted for well over 12 hours. Apparently, for me, that was not enough. I needed to have fasted for a lot longer so that that bullshit wouldn't have been a thing. So if I could go back and do it all over again, I would probably have fasted for the entire day. So I am not a medical professional. I am not a doctor. I do not claim to be. But if you ever have to go under for any reason whatsoever, I would seriously recommend you guys talk to your medical professionals about fasting for a little bit longer than what is initially recommended, because apparently I'm just weird. After the procedure was done, I had a conversation with the guy that essentially saved my life twice, and he said, dude, in the many years that I've been doing this, this has only happened maybe 5 or 6 times. So you are just one of these rare individuals that requires way more time in order to make sure everything is gone from your stomach. You have to fast for a little bit longer. And I hadn't gone under anesthesia before, so I didn't know how I was going to react to it. You know, they said, are you on any medication? Are you allergic to anything? And I was like, no, I'm not allergic to anything. I'm not on any medication. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm a healthy individual. And I mean, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do any of that stuff. I'm actually pretty boring in that way. So it was kind of a surprise. And one conclusion that we came to is that maybe it was the hamburger helper. So a second part of the conversation should be had is not just how long you should be fasting, but what should your last meal be before you go under. So apparently hamburger helper was the wrong choice. So I will make sure that if I ever have to go under again, I will not be touching that shit with a 10.5-foot pole. That is not something I would be doing. Absolutely not. I'll probably just eat yogurt and call it a fucking day. But my advice to anyone who will be going under general anesthesia would be to talk to your doctor and ask them about fasting for a little bit longer, just as a precaution, and ask them what you are allowed to eat. Because this is a conversation I did not have. The instructions that I was given was that don't eat anything after 12 hours or for 12 hours, and you should be good. Those were the instructions I were given, and I followed them to the T. I added 2 extra hours on top of that, and I thought I was being slick. But apparently that was not the case. So my advice, once again, is make fucking sure you have this conversation. So unfortunately, because of me essentially vomiting while I'm knocked out, and me paying $5,000 for the privilege, not all the work was completed. So I have to go back to the dentist so they can try again. And just so people are clear, I spoke to as many individuals as I could, and I apologized profusely because I'm sure that was very, very gross. I'm sure that was really, really gross. And I understand they're medical professionals. It should be something that they expect every now and then. But you feel bad, dude. You feel bad putting them through that shit. The reason why I spent all of this fucking money is so they wouldn't have to experience that. So I wouldn't have to experience that. But when they woke me up early and I was like, oh, is it all done? And they're like, nope, only halfway through, champ, because you vomited twice in your sleep. And it was kind of gross. And I look down and my shirt is just covered in stomach contents. So as soon as I got back home, I got a barrel, filled it with gasoline, burned my clothes. Then I was like, okay, I gotta find I gotta find a different way of doing this. So what we decided to do, which I think is going to be the best thing, since they already got through half of the procedure, we are going to break it up into smaller procedures, more of them, but shorter amount of time. Now, since the triazolam method worked very well for me, I'm going to do that method. And plus, it's a fuck of a lot cheaper than $5,000. So we're going to do the triazolam method, and that means that the procedure is only going to be like an hour and a half tops per appointment. And I got 2 more appointments in that case. And then after that, I will have a clean bill of health, and then I can start working towards next year and getting my wisdom teeth ripped out. So yes, if I were to go through this again, I would have to pay another $5,000. I'm not doing that. I have the money, but if I can avoid spending $5,000, then I'm definitely going to avoid spending $5,000. And yes, vomit does find its level. And let me tell you something. When I woke up, my first thought was, "Am I done? Is this shit over with?" And then my second thought was, "Wow, my throat really, really hurts. Did y'all have a really good time with me? Because if so, I want a discount." But that wasn't the case. So I still have a bit of a sore throat because, of the vomit. But we now have a game plan, and I think the game plan is going to work. But my advice to everyone is very simple. If you do have to go under for any reason whatsoever, make sure you have this conversation with your doctor. I'm serious. Please have this conversation with your doctor. Ask them how long you can fast for, what the maximum amount of time would be that is safe for you, and ask them what you should be eating and what you should not be eating. Because I did not have that conversation with this guy that basically saved my life. And I want to be clear, I'm not blaming them for anything. I didn't know this about myself, and he wasn't, given any reason to be concerned, because in his experience, this had only happened a handful of times. But at least now I know that, at least now I know how I react and what I should do next time. And that's exactly the lessons I'm going to carry forward. So if I do have to go under again, I will be sure to inform the medical professionals of what happened last time so they can make any necessary adjustments so this fucking bullshit doesn't happen again. I know that these guys have a job to do, and I am not the easiest patient. But I try to be. I try to make it as easy for them as possible. That's why I spent $5,000 for the privilege. So if any of y'all would like to make one hell of a super chat, go right the fuck ahead. But I spent the money. The money's already gone. I paid the bill in full. It's done. I'm good. We're good. I'm not in any sort of financial stress whatsoever. It just sucks that it didn't work as well as I wanted it to. It sucks. It fucking sucks. And like I said, you feel bad that they had to go through that with me completely knocked out and me just spewing chunks all over the place. I'm sure that was not pleasant. I'm sure that was extremely gross. So I like I said, I called as many of the individuals that were involved as I could. Doing follow-ups, planning for the future, new appointments being scheduled in the future and that kind of thing. And I apologized profusely. What I think I'm going to do after all is said and done is I'm probably just going to buy everyone like a cake or maybe some cookies or something and just write on it in icing, "Sorry I threw up everywhere." Hopefully they get a kick out of it and they know that I'm basically saying, "I'm sorry you had to go through that. I feel so bad about it. And here's some cake. I know this doesn't make up for the fact that y'all had to witness, me vomiting all over the place. I know this doesn't really make up for that, but at least it's something, and that I'm sorry about it." Because that was totally, I imagine that was gross for them to experience. So Yeah. So let me go ahead and just pay attention to the chat real quick. I think you should be nil by mouth for 24 hours prior to general anesthesia. Yeah, exactly. That's my opinion as well. And I can go 24 hours without eating. It sucks because let's face facts. Food is delicious. I love food. Food is amazing. But I can go 24 hours without eating, and knowing what I know now, I would have done that. If I could go back in time and talk to my slightly younger self, I'd be like, okay, here's what you're not gonna do. You are not gonna eat anything. I don't care what the fuck it is for 24 hours. Oh man. So yeah. Sorry about that. Here's some undigested food. Exactly. Don't get them cake. Make them some hamburger helper. Reds likes Taco Bell. Yes. I'm not going there for authentic Mexican cuisine. I'm going there because I'm poor and I like tacos, I guess. Wait, they didn't tell you how to fast for. Well, here's what happened. Here's what happened. They told me that I wasn't allowed to eat anything for 12 hours, so I went 14 hours without eating anything, and apparently that wasn't long enough. That led to problems while I was completely knocked out and in the chair. And like I said, it's fucking gross. I don't want to put anyone through that. You know, these guys are doing their job. They're trying to help me out and that kind of thing. And it all started because of a fucking popcorn kernel. So if I can give one other piece of advice, even though I know, grab the popcorn is kind of a meme at this point, but at this point, I'm going to swear off popcorn. I am. Popcorn should be considered a lethal weapon because of the unpopped kernels that you could accidentally bite down on and cause severe damage. Because that's exactly what happened to me. It cracked my tooth all the way to the fucking root. Ugh. Like, find a different snack, honestly. Find a different snack. One that doesn't come with a risk of your molar cracking all the way down to the root. It was not fun. Definitely not fun. And so popcorn, yeah, absolutely not. I'm gonna be staying away from that shit. It's now off the menu. It is excommunicated from my diet. I will not be participating in the popcorn. It can seriously go fuck itself. Reds, next time you know to bring a change of clothes. Yeah, because driving back home while your shirt is just covered in vomit is like really, really gross. And if you guys want to be really sick about this, let me tell you, the smell. Oh, God. Holy shit. The smell was awful. That's why I had to burn my clothes. But with all that being said, there's also one other bit of advice I would like to give you guys. Bring warm clothes. And let me tell you why. After I came to, after they woke me up, I was cold. I was frigid. And after I got back home, I turned the heat up to 80. I put on every jacket that I had, and I was under the covers in my bed. And I could not get warm for the life of me. I was shivering like crazy. And I just couldn't get warm. I was under the covers. I had like 3 or 4 jackets on. It was the weirdest fucking thing. I just could not get warm for hours after I came back home. So eventually I was able to warm up, but I think that's a side effect of going under like that, is that when I guess you lose a significant amount of body heat, and it takes a while for you to warm back up again. So it's very, very weird in terms of how you feel afterwards in terms of temperature. I was freezing. I was absolutely freezing. So, and like I said, I got home, I turned the heat up to 80, put on every jacket that I could, got under the covers, and I just stayed there shivering. It was the weirdest fucking thing, and it was quite awful, honestly. I didn't have that experience with the triazolam tablets. So we will be doing the triazolam tablets in a few weeks. And to the medical professionals out there that deal with this shit, I just want you to know that you are doing the Lord's work. Thank you so much for your professionalism. Thank you for what you do. Dental care is healthcare. And these guys are fucking heroes, honestly. They're heroes, and I'm very fortunate to have found the place that's currently treating me, because they were so understanding, so kind, and they were like, you don't have to apologize for anything. We're ready for anything. We're here to help you, and everything like that. I'm like, that level of service is very rare nowadays, but you still feel bad that you put them through that shit. So the best way forward is to not put them through that shit in the future. So guys, in conclusion, stay away from popcorn. That's my advice. Popcorn should be deemed a lethal weapon, because holy fuck, it can fuck you up when you least expect it, and it can lead to a lot of damage and a hefty bill at the end of the day. So stay away from popcorn. If you eat it, you are doing so at your own risk. Number 2, talk to your doctor, talk to the medical professionals that will be taking care of you. Ask them about fasting for as long as possible. Make sure to ask them about what you should be eating and what you should not be eating. Make sure you have that conversation with them and ask them, how long can I safely fast so that there is almost a 0% chance that I'm going to be vomiting in my sleep? That's a conversation that should be had. Otherwise, you're taking a risk, and you could find yourself in a situation where you're spending $5,000 for something and you only got halfway through the work. Not fun. Not fun at all. And then the final piece of advice is make sure you bring some warm clothes. I would also advise a vehicle with heated seats on the way home and a heated blanket for when you get back home. Turn the heat up to 80, maybe take a really, really hot shower to warm back up again, because you are cold when you wake up. But the final thing, which I did say was going to be the temperature, but I'll ask one more, or not ask, I'll state one more thing. Don't worry about going to sleep. It is the most peaceful experience you could ever have. It was awesome. When those drugs started to hit, I felt it, and it was bliss. That was as relaxed as I have ever felt in my entire life. It was awesome. Like I said, if only going to sleep were that easy all the time, people would be a lot less stressed out. So, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay happy and healthy. Once again, stay away from popcorn, because it's secretly trying to kill you. And yeah, talk to your doctor. Bring warm clothes if you have to go under. And that's about it. I will be keeping you guys updated every step of the way. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace out. Bye-bye.